We've now understood a pretty powerful performance cycle, the fear and I know which causes the only failure is the failure to try, etc. We've understood what causes change and what prevents change. And we've also understood that we have to grow into our goals. So if we have to grow into our goals and elicit change and remain above the line, then it would be a good idea to understand how we can proactively create the person to become the person to achieve our goals. So I've called this Identify Yourself because you see, rather than letting your identity happen to you, why not create it? This is what we call the identity iceberg. Once again, it's a cause and effect diagram. So in the skyline are our results, the current results that we're creating as a result of our behaviour. Now, that's our actions. If you look at the iceberg though, you can only see about 20% of the iceberg, the bit above the waterline. Below the waterline is the stuff that causes our actions. Now, it's really important to get definitionally clear on these words, and I'll explain why as we go through. First of all, skills. Obviously the things we're good at. Beliefs and values. Now, this is where confusion quite often happens. So beliefs are things that we hold to be true at a point in time. How quickly can we change a belief? Well, instantaneously, should we choose to. Values, things that we hold to be important, less changeable, because they're the lens at which we look at the world through, our moral compass, if you like. They're the things where we make judgments about what's right and wrong. And then our identity. At a very simple level, this is our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is programmed to help us find evidence of who we believe ourselves to be. And all that bobs around in the environment. And we either let that happen to us, or we look at what's happening to us and take responsibility, accountability and ownership for it. Now, there's some really important aspects to this. First of all, I call our belief system the bag of bricks. The reason is this: our beliefs drive our behaviour and our behaviour reinforce our beliefs. Let me give you an example of that. At school, junior school, we played football and I'm a terrible footballer. Now listen to the words I've just used. I'm a terrible footballer. I am a terrible footballer is an ownership statement. It's an identity level statement. I've attached that statement to myself. Now the thing is this, given that our subconscious is programmed to reinforce our perception of ourselves, if you were to see me playing football and bearing in mind the label I've put on myself about football, you're unlikely to. If I were to get a football and I kick it and I manage to score a goal, my subconscious will throw that away because it's not the evidence it's looking to reinforce. It'll sort of say fluke. Conversely, if I kick the ball and it goes flying over the hedge, my subconscious will go, yep, told you you're a terrible footballer. Now, if we go to another example, I went to senior school and played rugby. Now, I'm a great rugby player. Oh, there we go. There's another ownership level statement. So when I'm playing rugby, and you'll see me doing a lot of that, or you certainly used to before I got too old and it hurt too much. When you saw me playing rugby, if I fluffed a pass, my subconscious would go, well, that shouldn't have happened. I'm a brilliant rugby player. Conversely, when I put this 20-metre spin pass straight into the hands of the back, I go, oh, look, I told you I was a brilliant rugby player. Reinforcing again. So you see, our beliefs drive our behaviour reinforces our beliefs, hence the bag of bricks. And why do I call it the bag of bricks? Well, first of all, because we carry our belief system round and it weighs us down, and very rarely do we put the bag down to have a look inside to see what's going on. In fact, some of our beliefs were given to us, we put them in the bag, we didn't even think about it. Now, if you think about it, our belief is, we define the belief as a brick is a very solid thing. It becomes foundational to build our current behaviour, which builds our current results. But the point is, if we want to change our results, we have to change our behaviour. And if we want to change our behaviour sustainably, we have to change our belief. So at that point, the brick that was building our old behaviour becomes rubble to build our new behaviour. Now, when you try to build on rubble, what happens? Well, of course, everything collapses and you end up back where you started. So unless we change the belief, we don't change the behaviour sustainably. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this and why it becomes so obsessed about changing and defining the words, beliefs and values so clearly. I was working with a sales manager some years ago. He'd been promoted to manager because guess why? He was the best salesperson in the business. Now think about that E-ladder that I showed you earlier. When people move from employee, the best employee at, to manager, it's very easy, if they don't change their mindset, beliefs, to perpetuate the behaviour of, I'm the best at, therefore I'll put my Superman cape on, put my pants on over the outside of my trousers, come flying in, solve all the problems because I'm the best. Now, doubtless that's with best intentions, but it's not helpful as a manager. Now, here's the thing. When I spoke to Alex about what was going on in his job, he said, well, this, I'm currently, my team are bringing me all these problems, and I'm going, what are you doing? Well, leave them with me. So the results he's achieving are he's getting really busy because he's choosing to accept the problems of his team, which causes him to be really busy and them to be managing him. Now, all of that, as I say, is with best intentions. So I said, so what's causing that, Alex? And he went, because it's helpful. Okay, so now we've got the value. Helpful is a very clear value, and it's a great value to have. His belief around helpful in this context is to say, leave it with me, which is helpful, but other helpfuls are available. So I said to him, what would you like to be happening? Well, I'd like to have an independent team who are able to function independently of me and get through the same results as I can get. There's his new results. Well, what would you need to do, behaviour, Alex, to make that happen? Well, first of all, I'd have to say, don't leave it with me. So no, I'd have to start saying no. And what else would need to happen? Well, I'd have to make sure that I train the team in the processes that work for me so that they could get the same result. Great. Now, is that more likely to get you the result you want? Absolutely. Alex, is that still helpful? Yes. Is it more helpful in the context of the results you want to achieve? Yes. And this is why beliefs and values are so important to separate. We didn't change the value. He's still helpful. He's just helpful with a different belief around what helpful means. Now, until we change that belief, he's very unlikely to change his behaviour. Now, it's really important to differentiate between beliefs and values because some people can't very easily. So when we talk about creating change, what they do is they link it to the values level. In other words, Alex might have perceived that we were trying to make him unhelpful by saying no. And given that helpful is the lens at which he looks at the world through, he doesn't want to become unhelpful. So he's never going to change. If we help him see helpful in a different light, then he will change because he's maintaining the same value, but just with a different belief around it. So for me, there's a lot of power in this iceberg. Now, if you notice the words that I used, I'm a terrible football player. I'm a great rugby player. They're I am statements, identity level statements. So if you think about this, we've written a set of goals down. I encourage you to do that in session 1. We've said we need to grow into our goals. So why wouldn't we proactively construct the person to achieve those goals? Well, what do I mean by that? These I am statements, these are positive programming for our subconscious. Now, it's really important because if you look at the formula here that exists, results is have, behaviour is do, and all the stuff below the waterline is be. So be times do equals have. Now, what I'm not saying here is that we can arm this stuff into action, because if we change the be and don't do, we don't have. Be times don't do equals don't have. So we have to program the mindset to cause the new behaviour, be times do equals have. Now, we do this stuff to ourselves all the time anyway. We've got enough evidence that it works. I'm having a bad day. What have you set your subconscious mind to find evidence of now? I'm having a bad day. What happens as a result? We delete all the evidence of a good day because we've programmed our mind to find evidence of a bad day. So we always do this to ourselves. When my business wasn't going very well some years ago, how I was telling myself I'm not good enough. How often did I find evidence of that? Regularly. Was there plenty of evidence of me being good enough? Of course there was. I just wasn't looking for it. So we do this stuff to ourselves unsystematically and unhelpfully anyway, and guess what? We know it works. There's a great opportunity here, isn't there? Because you see, what if we were to create a set of statements about ourselves becoming the person who we need to be to achieve our goals? Let me give you an example. When I started this business, the thought of standing up in front of a bunch of people giving a presentation did not excite me. The reason for that was, at school, I was the kid who, when I put my hand up, I'd go bright red, the words would spill out, not in a coherent order, and I'd feel an absolute idiot. So the idea of standing on stage in front of people with that in the back of my mind was not a pretty one. What did I find evidence of when I used to do presentations in corporate? I'm not a very good presenter. Okay. What have I just reinforced? I'm not a very good presenter. Well, I knew I was going to have to do it as part of this business. So I thought, well, who do I need to become first? Confident. Confident's good enough. So I wrote an affirmation, and we're going to talk about how to do those in a second. I'm a confident presenter. Now, when I first put on that affirmation, it was like putting on a pair of trousers that are too small. Certainly wasn't comfortable because I wasn't a confident presenter. But I was actively programming my subconscious to find evidence of it. So the first time I stood up and gave a seminar, I thought, I'm a confident presenter. Did I find some evidence? Well, maybe a little bit, but I wasn't looking for evidence of me fluffing it up. The second time, I found a bit more confidence because there was more evidence of me being a confident presenter. A couple more times, and guess what? I'm a confident presenter. Now, that isn't my affirmation about presenting anymore. It's not about being a confident presenter, it's somebody else. It's a different level of presentation. It's about engaging and inspiring and all those kind of things to encourage people to go away and take action. It's a different affirmation now. And I actively program my subconscious to do that stuff. So let's have a look at how to create that person. First of all, at the end of the day, we go into business because we want to achieve a better life and a better business and more for ourselves and our families. So we shouldn't just think about our goals in the context of business. I believe very much in this concept of keeping our bubbles in balance. So balance is a really important, though maybe false concept. So I think there are three categories in our life. Number one is me. If we don't look after ourselves, then nobody else will. So we have to start with me. The second category is family. And the third category is business. So those are our three main categories. Now, once we've realised that those are the categories and we want to maintain some balance, what we now have to do is go and assign the roles to those categories. So what do I mean by that? Well, when I think about the me category, what's important to me? Well, health, number one, wealth, number two, friends, number three, and then community, having a community impact. So those are my four roles with regard to me. With regard to family, I'm a husband, and I'm a father to Oliver, and I'm a father to Alex. Now, those are two different roles because they're two very different kids. So they need different things from me. From a business perspective, I'm the MD of my business, I'm a coach, I'm a salesperson, and I'm a presenter. There's my four roles. So now I've very clearly defined the roles in which I need to evolve. Now those roles can change, of course, but they're the right roles for me right now. Now that I've defined those roles, I can go and write the goals for each of those roles. What should that person at a 10, that role, be achieving? Now I've identified my potential. Next thing I've got to do is describe that person. Now, if you think about it, the example that I just gave you as a presenter, describing that person, the first description was confident. That was the adjective that I wrote around about presenting. So write a list of adjectives about the person that would be capable of achieving those goals that you've defined for each of the roles. The last step is to write a set of affirmations. I am ... Include the adjectives about the role and the goal that you're looking to achieve. So I am a confident presenter. There's my description of myself as a presenter. which as I try that affirmation on again and again and again becomes more comfortable. The trousers fit. Once we've written those affirmations, then we have to use them consistently and systematically twice a day. Why do we do that? Well, first of all, because repetition, consistency. So we want to program our subconscious. The best way I've found to do this is to record them on my phone, because having them written down and putting them in a drawer, I'm not good at carrying pieces of paper around with me. So I recorded them on my phone. My phone's with me all the time. They're recorded in my voice. I give my voice complete credibility, so it still programs my subconscious. Now, the best thing about this is that as a result of consistent, systematic, positive programming, the stupid Andy used to say, I'm not good enough, or I'm having a bad day. Guess what's happened to him? Well, for most of the time, he's gone away because I'm busy focusing on the positively programmed affirmations that I'm doing systematically. So here's our opportunity to go and create proactively the person we need to become. So my actions for you as a result of this session are to go and define the roles in your life which are important. Write the goals for each of those roles. Write the set of adjectives that describe the person who will achieve those goals, and then turn those into a set of affirmations which have to start with the words I am. That's an identity level statement. And then use those affirmations twice a day, systematically and consistently. And if you want to record them on your phone, as I did with mine, to use as a system for making this work for you, then that's your next step, and those are your actions. Go and create the person you need to become to achieve your goals.